Young Junk! What's up to our sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the Geek Nation? Welcome to the
Cut takes you. This isn't live. We're good. Go.
What's up to our sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the Geek Nation? Welcome to the CultPop What We Do in Life Echoes in Eternity podcast, episode 105, one of the longest running comic book and pop culture podcasts of all time. You're welcome. Where we talk about movies and comics and TV and sharks of Rome and all the other things that scratch that sweet, nerdy little itch. We're coming to you live from Young Junk HQ here in Manayunk. It's a bomb-ass podcast production space. Hey, Dylan.
Yo.
If the folks at home
want
to know more about this here Young Junk, what do?
Well, what the folks at home can do is look at the bottom of the screen, and they can find my email, and they can send me an email, and any podcast-related questions in general, we can discuss. And if they want to start a podcast, I would love to do that with them.
Aw.
Look at you, producer boy.
Look at me.
No. Producer man.
I've come so far.
You're no longer young Neil. You're just Neil.
Just Neil.
Whoa. Yeah.
I'm your host, JD of Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex, located at 4327 Main Street, Philadelphia, PA 19127.
Too early for Alice Arms.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Wait for
They're
harsh.
my arms.
No. Too late for your arms.
Mine.
It's a super rad comic shop that caters to nerdy and nerd-adjacent individuals of all shapes, sizes, genders, non-genders. With me tonight to talk is Alice.
Hi.
And Noel.
Sup?
Also, we already met Dylan, whatever. Tonight, we're going to discuss not only the classic Academy Award-winning film Gladiator, but also the very recent sequel, appropriately titled
Gladiator Electric Boogaloo.
But before we do all that, a gentle, sweet reminder that if you're here live, feel free to comment, like, subscribe. We've got a monitor over here so we can get all up in it. Like, subscribe, hit the bell notification so we know that you know when we go live and add new content. Content. I hope you're content with our content. If you're watching this later, I'll do that stuff anyway. We love a little back and forth, so email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com, just like Christopher St. Saucy did. It's not up. It's not there. It's here. Here we go. Subject: planes, trains, and the fifth element. Now, astute listeners and viewers might think this is the same email that you read last week. No, this is a response, so knock it off.
The follow-up of what happened last time. So
Recap.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was going to say previously on the Cult Pop podcast email section.
Yeah.
Oh, nice catch.
Oh my God. Now you have to chug it. Yeah. Christopher St. Saucy emailed in about all the movies he was going to. Two of them included watching Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, as well as seeing The Fifth Element for the first time. He was unimpressed by The Fifth Element. I forgot what he thought about.
For me?
No, for you to open.
You?
Yeah. I forgot what he thought about Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
I don't think he cared for any of them, right?
No? Yeah, go ahead.
Anyway,
Sneak
he
away.
continues.
Yeah.
With Planes and Trains, I just think there are better Steve Martin movies.
Sure.
Father of the Bride.
Sure.
Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Sure.
Three Amigos.
I still quote Three Amigos. It's problematic or
so
not.
Good.
Huh. Yeah, you got to look the other way, though.
I did the other.
Yeah.
As for the Fifth Element, maybe I would have liked it if the bad guy / thing had any sort of characterization whatsoever.
Go ahead and open another one. I'll be done in a second.
Oh, I guess he means the giant fart cloud.
Was that you
I'm not
asking?
kidding. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Why was Gary Oldman after those stones? Was that ever revealed? What was the ultimate evil? Because honestly, it felt like they watched Star Trek The Motion Picture / The Voyage Home and said, we can make a villain 10 times worse. Voyage Home is one of the best original series movies, but the villain really is less developed than the Chitauri in the first Avengers movie. Oh, that's saying something.
So Gary Oldman was after the stones because he was being influenced by a great evil
But what was it?
for power. A great evil.
Yeah.
Duh. Fiction is littered with nebulous forces. Like it just is. It was depicted as a giant living planet in the movie. Yeah. Like it just is what
it made his nose bleed black blood.
Yeah, like it was telepathic and sentient and all that jazz. It was just evil,
it was
man.
just mean. It was just a
It was
mean
universal
planet.
evil.
And Noel,
Yeah.
I too was unimpressed with Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I wouldn't say unimpressed. I wasn't unimpressed. It's just I didn't keep going.
Rage bait.
Rage
bait.
bait.
Yeah.
Rage bait. Rage bait.
Fuck that show. Cartoon, live action, comics, eat it. No, I just it just wasn't in my wheelhouse. I love everyone's love. But I tried it and it was like, oh, I would have loved this when I was 12. That's cool. Like I'm just not in. I'm not in the demographic, and everybody that's of my age that is really enjoying it discovered it a lot earlier than I did. So they've got that kind of nostalgia connection. It's valid. I'm not saying it's nostalgic because it's not good. It's just it's introduced at a different time, and you're like, yeah, all right, it's not for me.
Thing, though. I was introduced to Avatar: The Last Airbender as a fully grown human man.
Yeah, but like in your late 20s.
Barely human.
All right.
Humanish. That still counts.
I do. I think in my 20s, I was a fully grown adult man, but I still had not been exposed to as much as I have
I too
20
was
years
an adult
later.
man in my 20s.
Yeah.
To adult men in their 20s. High five, everybody. No, it doesn't matter. Like that's still 20 years of stuff that you've already, like other stuff that you watched maybe in the same tone doesn't hit you the same way.
Right on. Hey, Eddie Madison is in the chat saying, hello there. What's
Hi.
up? Hi, Eddie. Welcome back. Thank you for hanging out with us. What's up? That's a great question, Eddie. One I'm about to ask my co-host here in a show, in a segment I like to call
What's showing?
Hey, Cult Poppers, what's poppin'? Wherein I ask my friends what was poppin' with them this week. Hey, Alice.
Hey, me.
Oh, you mean us?
You
I mean, you have friends outside of here.
you guys.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know you meant
my
us.
work acquaintances.
We're
Alice.
acquaintances.
What was poppin' for you this week?
Am I allowed to do my arms?
Hell
Your
yeah.
Okay.
No,
I was
I don't-
told it was too early. But
Never don't do your arms, Alice.
Too early for him to do your arms.
okay. I'm going to stay like this for the rest of the show.
That's going to be so uncomfortable.
Yes.
I hope you start sweating.
I'm already
got
But
sweating.
little
I
stains?
don't. But she's airing them out. I don't know why.
Oh, that's
she-
true.
Yeah, that's true.
If anything, this is like an antiperspirant.
Am I the only one who noses his mic?
No,
I do it all the time.
Okay, good. Tell
Anyone
us
else
about
that
what you were
records in
doing.
the studio, you're welcome.
Epithelial is all up in your business. Go.
Close. All right. So my What's Poppin' is a podcast that I learned about from this exact segment from Noel. It's
Hi.
called Going Rogue.
Yeah.
Specifically, their Striking Out season, which is about the writer's strike in 2007, 2008. And it's fascinating.
What's her name?
I wish we had been rolling when these two were talking.
Yeah, I
about
should have
it
saved it.
7 minutes ago because
That's all I have to
she
say
was
now.
So enthusiastic. The short that went viral last week, where she was talking about how she can't
I
like
don't like
things in a chill way, was fully on display. Go on, Alice.
So, yeah, this is one thing I couldn't like in a chill way. I listened to the Going Rogue episode that got into the making of Gladiator II, which I'll discuss later when we talk about our main topic. But after that, I was looking for more content to listen to, and I was like, oh, they have an episode about America's Next Top Model. Let me listen to that. Not knowing it was part of the Striking Out segment. It's like the fifth episode. It's like the fifth episode in that season, and there's 7 episodes. So I jump in the middle of the story. It's all about the writer's strike and how it affected reality television, how reality television got a boost, but then story editors who were technically writers for reality TV weren't getting represented fairly. And I was so in to all of it. So I started from the top and they got into the making of James Bond. And
Wait, hang on. Let's level set. It is a podcast hosted by Tansy Gardam.
Yes.
Who is an Australian film industry writer and
she's incredible.
host and stuff.
She's an amazing voice.
listening to
Incredible.
Her researching skills are just bar none.
The way she tells the story.
I was about to say it's not dry at all. It's an info dump, but it's super
But
charming.
it's like it's got the same kind of like gravitas as like Serial did.
Yes.
Where it's actual like storytelling about something very hyper specific. So,
Yes. And it was really funny. She actually had a little bit of the not liking things in a chill way in the first episode because I went back once I realized it was a series
That was
and
gonna be
started
my
at the
question.
beginning.
Did you go back
Yeah.
mid podcast?
No, I finished the
finished
America's
the
Next
one.
Top Model episode.
Because there have been
She
times.
paused, threw it, went over to a new device.
Yeah.
To start it fresh
I
because
threw
that
my
one's
phone
sullied.
out the window.
Tainted.
That one's tainted.
I've
I have
stopped
to listen to it.
podcasts in order to go listen to earlier podcasts.
No, I went back to the beginning
Okay.
and she starts at the top where Daniel Craig had just been cast as the new James Bond. Casino Royale did way better than they thought it was, and they were trying to rush out Quantum Solace because they knew a strike was coming. But they didn't get out in time, which the script wasn't finished, and it it's a whole mess, and it's so intriguing to listen to her. And that was just supposed to be one episode, but she ends the first episode with like, this is going to be a part 2. Because she says at one point, she's like, every time I sit down to do research on Casino Royale, I just end up watching the whole movie because it's so good. So it's taking me so long.
Good.
And she's like, yeah, simply because of who I am as a person, this is going to be a 2-parter. And I was like, I respect that. I love that for you. And so I listened to the first 2 episodes about the James Bond, and now I'm on the episode about The Office and how streaming affected writers' wages, and how when they were trying to dissuade piracy, which became popular in the early mid 2000s, they would release full episodes with ads on the like NBC website.
Yeah.
But then they labeled those as promotions instead of episodes, so the writers got no residuals. Ooh. And most people started streaming it, or most people would buy it for $2 on iTunes and watch it again and again and again and again. And this was around interesting.
This was around the time where Netflix only just started, or was only like 1 or 2 years into having a streaming service as opposed to the just DVDs, and they were buying up the broadcast rights or the syndication rights for like older TV shows. So I think it was like some ABC shows like Castle and shit and Law and Order, but it wasn't nearly what it is today, where people would just like completely binge whole TV shows. And that's what the writers were fighting for too, I believe. Like that was part of it. How do you monetize a new platform altogether? Yeah.
They were each asking for, I forget what this was in relation to, but I think the residuals they were getting were like 40 cents, and they were asking for like 80 cents. But the way it was being like displayed was like, they're asking for double the pay. And it's like, yeah, but they're still asking for less than $1. Yeah. They're
funny.
still,
Ugh.
It's so interesting to listen to it. Because like, I know about the writer strike, but I was like 13 when it happened. So I wasn't super aware of it. So going back and listening about it.
My favorite thing to come out of the writer strike was Joss Whedon.
Dr. Horrible sing-along blog.
Dr. Horrible sing-along blog. I love that.
Did she do an episode on that?
I don't know.
Because that was something that was explicit. So like, I think the way that Joss Whedon tells it, or just the story of it in general, like during the strike, those that were against it, the streamers and the companies that were like, we don't want to abide by this, were convinced that it wasn't a big enough revenue stream to cut in creative. So Joss Whedon and his team, when they were during striking, was like, we're going to do something incredibly popular and we're going to charge for it, and we're going to show you just how lucrative it can be and is. And that's what Dr. Horrible came from.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It was like a proof of concept.
That's awesome.
Of we could do something.
It was so funny.
Top tier.
It was so funny. I told this before on the podcast, but I was so excited to watch it that when the first episode dropped, I logged on to go watch it, and the whole website had crashed.
Oh,
yeah, we had to like. Did we pay for it?
Yeah, maybe.
Was it like donate or pay?
I don't remember.
Either way, it was like it crashed, and that was like a proof of concept of it's can be a thing.
So have you finished all 7 episodes of the striking out season of Going Rogue?
No, I listened to all of the America's Next Top Model. I picked America's Next Top Model episode while I was scrolling just because I've talked about this before, and this was another clip that went somewhat viral. I love reality television, and America's Next Top Model was one of my guilty pleasure reality TV shows that I probably shouldn't have been watching because it's awful. It's awful. I went back and rewatched it during the pandemic. Awful.
Oh yeah, no, I've never been able to watch those.
They treat them, oh my god, horrible. And they get a little bit into that in the episode, but also how poorly the writers and directors were treated because reality television is seen as not as serious as other forms of media. And they get into how reality television and also animation weren't really considered as part of the Writers Guild. And the episode after that is going to be animation, but
it sounds really interesting. I gotta watch it.
Good.
I listened to one of her episodes, and it was about Zack Snyder.
Rebel Moon, yeah.
Moon, and that was so interesting. I think it was 2 episodes.
She went through the effort of watching the theatrical cuts, the re-edits, or the extended cuts. I do this with air quotes because none of them were theatrical and they suck. Yeah. And then talked about the differences between the two, and then just the completely fabricated reason as to why there even are multiple cuts. Just all absolute garbage. But the can you become obsessed with 50 miles per hour finally?
Sure.
That's the Speed podcast.
How long ago did you recommend this podcast? Because that's the time
Was
that I'll get obsessed with
No,
it.
50.
It was 50 miles an hour? I thought it was
Yeah,
55.
50.
All right,
Anyway.
so she covers Quantum of Solace, which is a 2-part episode, The Office, Heroes is the next one,
Oh, heroes.
America's Next Top Model, South Park, which is the animation episode, and then Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog.
Oh,
yeah, it's the
hey.
last one. That's what she ends on.
Oh, I'm gonna listen.
Other things that
Yeah.
she's done. It's called Going Rogue because it was an oral story or oral history of Rogue One and how many different production issues it went through, which was really, really interesting. I don't
Yeah.
know if you listened to that
I
yet.
gotta listen
I have to
that
listen
too.
to that. Like the
And they did Going Solo, and they do a Gladiator sequel episode. There,
was so fun.
over the last 24 years, apparently there were multiple attempts to create a.
Russell Crowe went rogue
Yeah, Russell Crowe literally went rogue and commissioned his own script.
by Nick Cave.
Yeah,
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah.
Script. Yes, I heard about that.
it was a
It's insane.
Right.
immortal Maximus.
It was called Christ Killer.
Immortal
It's
Maximus
insane. We'll get into it.
assassinating Jesus Christ.
Yes!
Yeah.
Amazing.
We got some stuff in the chat here.
Yeah, Pink Apocalypse says anybody under the age of 25 is still a child to me. They don't have fully developed prefrontal cortexes.
My creepy battle stance. Oh, can we call it a creepy battle stance?
I love
Creepy
that.
battle stance is good, says
Thank
Pink.
you. Thank you, Pink.
Is that better than Alice Arms?
I like
Alice
the
Arms?
alliteration
Yeah,
of Angry
yeah.
Alice Arms. Just like
Angry Alice Arms.
Bartocci's bonnet full of bees.
Oh,
Did it.
It's true.
That was a good one.
Eddie says I'm 38.
Nice.
Well, yeah.
So are you a fan? Are you saying you're 38 because you're a fan of?
I was like,
He's clearly referring to the rest of the conversation about like older watching things and if they hit right.
About Avatar: The
Yeah,
Last
he's
Airbender.
38.
Yeah, I get it. And then Christopher Goodnight says, have you ever listened to the DVD commentary or commentary the musical of Dr. Horrible Sing-Along blog?
Yes.
Also, fuck Joss Whedon.
Sure.
Super sad we never got a follow-up to Dr. Horrible where Felicia Day comes back to play Penny's identical twin cousin, Nicole Patty Duke style. Oh, Nicole
So
Patty
intrigued.
Duke style. I was like, that's a weird name.
That's
Nicole
a
Patty
long
Duke
name.
style. That ends in a bummer.
Yeah.
I forgot that. What a
that's-
bummer of an ending
That
for
was Joss Whedon's
Joss Whedon.
shtick for like 20 years.
Yeah.
Happy. Look how great we are. Death.
Kind of like his career. Anyway.
He's still enjoying all those residuals.
I know.
Yeah, it's fine.
Hey, Noel.
damn.
Yeah.
What was popping for you this week, my brother?
So
My brother lover.
Lover brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
By like any of what
I
just happened.
Two things
jealous.
that just transpired that I enjoy. You're cringe. And
Are you saying she is cringe?
I
No,
don't. I
you
don't.
cringing.
You are cringy.
No.
This points to me.
No.
You're cringe.
you're cringe.
You know that by
You're directed cringe.
have you seen Happy Death Day?
Oh,
course.
yeah.
You know the part when she just yells at the guy, "You're gay." That's like, you're cringe.
The other thing would be Dylan guffawing or smirking or like trying to hold in
Anytime
embarrassed
Dylan
laughter.
laughs,
Embarrassed laughter.
I am filled with tickles.
This is my
like,
other
there's-
podcast, but we have a
there's
funny
little
topic we're
Dylans
going to talk
inside
about on
doing this.
Inside the
Feeling
Morgue.
insides of me. Yeah.
I'm so excited to talk about something on Inside the Morgue that's going to make Dylan lose his mind, but I can't tell him what it is because I want it to be a surprise.
So anyway, Noel,
be sure to tune in for Inside the Morgue.
yes. Yeah. Sorry. My other podcast.
You're
Inside
on the
Morgue.
Young Chunk Network.
Yeah.
Okay, so just this past week, yesterday or the day before yesterday, the new Star Wars Disney Plus show
I
dropped.
had no idea.
Star Wars: The Skeleton Crew, starring Jude Law and a bunch of kids, as well as the lead singer of TV on the Radio. TV on the Radio. The first 2 episodes dropped. I had a chance to watch the first one. The basic concept is just that suburban kids in the Star Wars galaxy get into trouble, find themselves on an abandoned starship that flies off and maroons them. That's basically the first episode. All the trailers have been great. I'm really excited about the show. It's basically like kids versus pirates in space, which is awesome. Explorers, Goonies.
Yeah. Oh, Explorers. Nice call.
Awesome stuff. The first episode's boring as hell. Here's the thing. Everyone's charming. Everything is working. It's really enjoyable, but it takes 40 minutes for them to get inside the ship. I think this is like a product of streaming and television shows. Because if this was a movie, that's 5 minutes. Yeah. All of the kids are already archetypes. I don't need extra scenes of that. All of the parents and like, oh yeah, great. He overworks, so he can't be with the son all the time. Oh, and she's overbearing. That mother's overbearing, so the kid's a rebel. Like, I get it. They're fucking archetypes. We don't need an entire episode of like.
Well, maybe the kids need an entire episode of that.
Probably not, because if you go and watch another like an older movie, an '80s movie, it's just like boom, boom, boom. Here you are, and then through action, we learn more about
the character
stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a really prolonged first episode.
Okay.
Production design is so awesome. All of the character design is fantastic. It's really like when it starts to pop, it pops, and I can't wait to watch the next one.
Is it animated?
No.
Live action. Cool.
Yeah. I can't wait to watch the next one, but power through the first act.
Bit of a stumble out the gate.
I really do think
Bit
it's
of a hitch in the giddy up.
I really do think it's yeah, it feels like, well, we had to, you know, it doesn't seem like there's a point to an entire episode of just setup.
Yeah. I felt similarly about the most widely regarded as one of the best TV shows for Star Wars.
They dropped 3 episodes at once, though.
Yeah.
At least to make.
I was bored by all 3 of the first episodes. It wasn't until they got to the prison. By the way, the show is called
Andor.
Yeah.
There,
So
yeah,
I mean,
but
I
there is,
understand.
you know what though? Again, in defense of Andor, there is a difference between a crime drama and a kids show.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
There's a huge difference between the two. And
Are the characters at least charming, like the Goonies? You know, I just
Some
half
of
the
them
fun
are.
of the Goonies is watching those characters interact with each other and with the Fratellis.
some of them are. The main kid so far is a little bit of a wet blanket, character-wise. His best friend Neil, which is the elephant-looking alien, I'd die for him. He's one of the best. Like, he's so great, and he's so charming, and he's really, really engaging to watch.
Nice.
So that's great. The other 2 kids who are a little bit more like rebels, they're just canvases right now. Okay. Like, they're more like archetypal looks than they are like characters. And again, I spent 40 minutes with them.
Yeah.
I shouldn't feel that way. Yeah.
What is the season episode?
8.
8? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully it'll pick up.
Oh yeah, no. Apparently, it screened for reviewers like 3 or 4 episodes, and I think it's got like a 94% Rotten Tomato score. So everyone that watched it in larger chunks really seems to enjoy it. But I do think that the first episode is a little boring.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. How is the internet? So side note, I put a app blocker on my phone, so I have not been on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok for more than 7 minutes in the past week. How is the internet reacting to Skeleton Crew? I'm thinking of the last show that came out that was absolutely lambasted mindlessly.
This is. It doesn't seem to be getting the same level of hate because this is kids and not women or people of color.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Ugh. Anyway, well, I'm definitely gonna check it out. I totally forgot that it
Yeah.
was coming, and I didn't know it dropped
Yeah, same.
until you mentioned it today. I was like,
The everything about it is really, really cool. I just think the first episode so far is a little bit of a drag.
and 2 dropped. That's
Well,
that's
for
it so
first
far.
and second, yeah, I just haven't had a chance to watch the
Right
second one.
on. All right. Hey, get in the chat and let us know if you watch Skeleton Crew, or email us because I'm curious to hear more about it.
Hey,
Oh, hi. Hello.
poppin'?
Hey, what's
Poppin'
popping?
with you?
I'll tell you what.
We're just gonna move into the main review.
Yeah, just ignore me. So I got a chance to watch. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this.
Oh no.
Why?
We've been watching a lot of screeners recently. I won't say why.
You saw a movie
One
that's
of them is
available.
Saturday Night. Saturday Night is a rated R film. It's an hour and 49 minutes. At 11 p.m. on October 11th, 1975, a ferocious troupe of young comedians and writers changed television forever. Find out what happened behind the scenes in the 90 minutes leading up to the first broadcast of Saturday Night Live, 1975. Directed by Jason Reitman. This movie was okay. So there's a ton of screeners that we have to get through, and for better or worse. And this was not on my list of must-sees. Saturday Night. I was like, oh, okay, I like Saturday Night well enough. I grew up, in the Chris Farley era. But I don't know how much exposure I've had to the original couple of seasons, other than like the really most popular skits. So I wasn't really looking forward to this in any tangible way.
Sketches.
Sketch.
They say that a lot in this movie.
Sketches.
They say sketch and like sketches, please. That being said, this was my favorite of all of maybe second favorite of all of the movies that we've watched in the past maybe 2 months. This was such a delightful time. The way that Jason Reitman directs and moves the camera and follows the characters around, and there's so many scenes of just one long take where you go, how many takes did that take? That took forever, because it's so well crafted, and the camera's always moving throughout the set or the backstage set of Saturday Night Live. And you're introduced to so many different original cast members and behind the scenes production folks and writers and all this other stuff. And you're introduced to most of them in the first long shot. And it's really impressive to behold. I was really surprised by how delightful and funny and charming and also kind of not serious, but they really are letting you sort of bake in the stress and the anxiety that comes along with putting on the world's first ever show like this. And I really like, everyone's got a Lorne Michaels impersonation. Listen, this show is not brought to you by Cider, but it's a part of it.
Sidey boys.
But the guy who's playing him,
Gabriel LaBelle, it was the first name that you had up there.
LaBelle, yeah, Gabriel LaBelle is playing him, and it's so understated, but you can definitely see like he's got this slightly puckered lower lip.
Every once in a while, you could look at this.
Yeah. It's just so good. They don't really hold your hand with what each actor is playing, what actor each actor is playing, if that makes sense. So you kind of have to like figure it as you go.
Cooper Hoffman plays Dick Ebersol. That's Philip Seymour Hoffman's son.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, he was great. He was great in it. Everybody in this movie is great.
I'm very excited for this movie. I haven't had a chance to see it yet. It's available digitally now. It didn't have nothing to do with your screeners. It's literally available to rent now and will be streaming, I think, at the end of the month. But I love movies like this, but I also know the limitations of movies like this. Recreations of true events with like 18 different narrators or people that will tell their version of it will never actually be. They're usually a mess. Like it's trying to get the truth from like 7 people at once. Like they all have their different versions. So typically movies like this usually don't feel cohesive, or if they are, it's very, very limited in scope. Like Jobs. I
have not seen Jobs.
The Michael Fassbender one. Wait, there was 2 of them.
Yeah, I didn't see either of them.
Which one's which?
Ashton Kutcher was in the other one. I don't remember which one.
But what are they called?
I just remember they came out around
like
the
in the same
time.
year.
Yeah.
But, so what I thought was the one that I'm talking about is the Michael Fassbender one that was directed by Danny Boyle. Wildly inaccurate historically, but
Steve Jobs.
Is it just called Steve Jobs?
It's just called Steve Jobs.
Okay.
Fassbender.
But what they did was they took real events and just framed them in. We're only going to we're only going to tell you about the hour before these 3 launches. So it's just like 3 little 1-act plays, and then they took events that happened at other times during that point of time.
I imagine that's much the case here.
That's what I'm saying. I think like purists are probably going to pick this apart about being like, well, that didn't actually happen, or this or that. Or this person hated this person. They didn't talk about that, and blah, blah, blah. But it really is just a distillation of like the chaos for the story. So I'm really excited knowing that it's basically fluff, but like good fluff,
it's so
fun
good.
fluff.
It's a fluffer nutter. For anyone who doesn't know, a fluffer nutter is a great stoner sandwich, and it's just white bread and then peanut butter and fluff, peanut butter, marshmallow fluff. It's delicious.
Coase and I bring those on hikes. They're solid hike snacks.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, not stoner snacks, hiker snacks.
Yes.
We don't support drugs. So anyway, so the chat is open. JD, I love Saturday Night, but it felt like it should have been a mini. Yes, I would have loved a miniseries of this, Christopher. I didn't even realize Al Franklin or Billy Crystal was there. I didn't realize Al Franklin was there, but I did glom that Billy Crystal was there. And then poor guy, he holds his ground and then doesn't make it onto the show. And they did a flashback scene of things that happened in the movie like twice, if I remember correctly. Flashback.
Oh, that is it. That's a terrible editing choice. Usually when that happens, it's. I watched this movie and then in the third act to make a point home because I'm a baby, they give me a flashback of the hour before.
Oh yes, they do that. Yeah,
That's
a little bit. It's like really quick cuts of like the things that are going through his mind.
Oh, well, that's not so bad.
Yeah, I think it's a peek into Lorne Michaels' brain as he's trying to answer a question that the head of NBC is asking him.
Okay.
And so he flips through all of the different mishaps that are going because he's asking, how's it going? And you see all of the mishaps and he
that's
goes,
not so bad.
well, we're doing great.
That's not so bad. Dylan O'Brien as Dan Aykroyd deserved more time. The actor played Chevy was great. I wanted more of Cousin Greg and Andy Kaufman. Sure. But don't know why he played both Andy and Jim Henson. That's because the person that was supposed to play Jim Henson backed out at the last minute.
Because he's amazing?
Yeah.
That was awesome. I loved it. Seriously, I was like, is that the same guy? I'm like, yeah.
And Rachel Sennett. I love Rachel Sennett. Yeah, everyone does. It's Rachel Sennett, Rosie Schuster. She's been in 1,000 movies, including Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Mm-hmm. She's the new It girl. Kutcher was in Jobs. Yeah, we know that. Vicious Marshmallow. Stoner Snacks. Also, Boner Snacks.
Not Rager Snacks.
Can't go on this tangent again.
Boner.
Ragers versus Boners.
Rager. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Anyway, so if you get a chance, it's streaming now. You can buy it for $20.
Yeah, you could buy it on Apple or
here's the thing.
Prime or
I don't
something.
know if you need to buy it. Unless you're an SNL head, you could buy it then. But I don't know. You could wait for it.
It's going to be like on Netflix
Rent
this
it.
month.
It's a rental.
Yeah, it's fine.
But it's wonderful. It's really good.
I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, I love these types of movies.
Yeah. Anywho, that's what's popping for us this week. Let's move on to one of our two main reviews. The first one's going to be Gladiator from the year 2000. It has an 80% Rotten Tomatoes score, directed by Ridley Scott, written by David Franzoni, John Logan, and William Nicholson, starring Russell Crowe, Joaquin Phoenix, Connie Nielsen, and Jimon Hansu. A former Roman general sets out to exact vengeance against the corrupt emperor who murdered his family and sent him into slavery. Now, Alice, kick us off. When was the first time you watched Gladiator?
Sunday.
Sunday. So this was your first time. All right, great. It's kind of what I've assumed.
Yes.
It's 24 years old.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why I didn't watch it. So when we talked about me overhyping things, you mentioned how you avoid things sometimes. Like you avoided specifically your example was Dave Matthews Band, because there were fans that you just didn't like that person, and you're like, wow, if they're so into this thing,
it must be bad.
It must be bad.
Yeah.
I had a similar experience with Gladiator. There was a person or two who I just didn't like, and they were all about this movie, and I'm like, well, now I can't watch it.
I don't know if I would trust somebody that's like makes their personality Gladiator.
I was just thinking that. I'm like, who makes their personality about Gladiator?
That's not really a fandom movie.
Movies.
Like, you could be a fan of the movie and think it's wonderful,
What
but
do you think of somebody who makes their entire personality 300 to the point where they watch it multiple times a year?
I think that person needs to go to therapy.
Yeah.
You're
they
right.
also probably have like
I'll talk more about it off
edible
air.
concern.
But
Yeah, no.
The same person?
yeah.
I mean, they're both. I mean, I get it. It's the same.
One's Greece, one's Rome.
Look, hang on. Look at this camera. Costa, stop.
I swear,
Stop.
it's not Costa.
Very subtle.
I would not be marrying him if
Stop.
it was.
300 is overrated.
No, I swear it's not Costa. Costa knows that I cannot watch 300
I don't want to watch it again.
for personal
Yeah.
reasons.
I liked it.
It was
I
good
liked it
once.
when it was totally different 20-something years ago, but now it's like okay.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So
Gladiator.
just imagine that kind of person.
Academy Award winning 300. Go ahead.
And yeah, it's true. I can't. I'm gonna. So yeah, I avoided this movie because I was like, I
Costa
can't.
says, I'm sorry. He's in the
Costa, it
chat.
wasn't you. I love you so much. I made I hardly know her joke before the mic turned on. You missed it.
Actually, I made it.
Yeah, we did.
We got there the same
We got
time.
there together. Yeah, so I avoided
Ladies.
this movie to the point also where when we were talking about making it a topic, I was kind of like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to watch this movie finally. Like,
You were like,
I did not want to watch this
actively-
movie. I did not want to watch this.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I am so glad I got you out of your comfort zone.
And I
Yeah.
fucking loved it. I
Nice.
loved this
Nice.
movie. It was I was shocked.
So you would-
Costa was watching it with me. Costa does love this movie, but he doesn't make it his entire personality.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
well,
just
we all love
enjoys
this movie.
And
His personality is showgirls.
Yeah.
Loves
classic,
it, yeah.
classic. And so he was really excited when we were watching it together, and like he could tell I was like, wait, I actually really, really like this. Is a very well done movie. This is a really great story. I love a revenge story, so it's
good for him.
I loved it.
I gotta say, Sam, Sam didn't remember much of it. She's got like a dark period. Not like in a sad way, just a dark period of content in general. Like between like 99 and 2005, she's like, maybe I saw it, maybe I didn't. I didn't care about anything, so whatever. So there's oftentimes I'll bring up like oh, you've never seen this? No. She's like, I think I did in pieces. I've never sat through all of it. I was like, okay, so we'll watch it. A little like disengaged for little pieces of it and looks at her phone and whatnot. But by like halfway through the movie in the third act.
This one specifically?
This one.
Okay, yeah.
Fucking riveted. And then as soon as it was over, with like half tears, but not really, just like kind of in it. Can we watch the preview for the second one?
Oh,
like, yep.
I love that.
Yeah, she was just in it.
I like when she gets into stuff.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about Wicked next week.
Oh, I'm excited. Yeah, I was so into it to the point like mid-movie I was trying not to look at my phone, but I wanted to look up someone in the cast for the second one.
Yeah.
And then I spoiled the end of Gladiator because it's the first sentence in the description of the second one. But I was still, it wasn't the whole are we doing spoilers for Gladiator or no?
Oh, no.
No, but to your point, I wish the fucking trailers for the second one absolutely destroy like 4 reveals in just the movie of the second one.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't remember any of it.
So to the point where I spoiled the end, and I'm like, now I already know how this movie's going to end. I didn't know how it was going to end fully, and it was such a good movie.
Oh, I'm so glad
I loved this movie.
2001's winner of Best Picture, Best Actor Russell Crowe, Best Costume Designer,
I mean,
that face.
Best Sound, Best Visual Effects.
all of that, but Russell Crowe. Like, he's very good, but I don't know
I
if
think
he's best actor.
He's phenomenal in this.
He's fine.
Let's go ahead and tell me what you thought. I'll look up who he was up against that year, and we'll see.
So I don't think I've revisited this movie since I saw it in the theater in the year 2000. It was nice to go back and revisit it. And I was kind of struck by how much it really still holds up. Like, it's really just an example of excellent filmmaking from 24 years ago. The fact that most of it feels like it's real, I think. I know there's a bunch of CGI in it, but it still feels like real places. I like that the main character is not Arnold Schwarzenegger, like super macho, right? Braggadocious.
Yeah, there was a
Sort of thoughtful.
that action hero trope kind of phased out mid 90s.
Yeah.
And like it phased out mid 90s. Like last action hero in like 94 was kind of like the tail end of that, kind of like the action heroes are nothing but macho and impervious.
Yeah.
Now that they're
And this, we're introduced to this guy. The very first scene we have is him like spending time wisping his fingers through the wheat fields and stuff of his home. He's a farmer.
He just wants to go home.
And that first battle scene.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Did he just bring a head?
It's so good. What a great battle scene. It's just so effective. And I also just like how he has no interest in it. As a hero, he's just like, I just want to go home and see my wife and kid. Can I? Hey king, hey emperor,
brah.
Mind if I
Hey,
peace
Richard
out?
Harris, I'm
just gonna skedoodle. It's genuinely heartbreaking to have him have that conversation with the emperor, and then of course no one else hears the conversation, which is
it's a delicate conversation to have. So I didn't think there would be people in the room taking notes.
But no. I mean, it's just heartbreaking.
Oh,
You kind of wish someone had overheard it.
Yeah.
In Gladiator II, there's that lady who like Homer Simpson's her way out of the room. But in this one, you're like, does no one know that he's going to make him the emperor? Damn it.
Somebody did.
And Joaquin Phoenix is so despicable in this movie.
Nominated for supporting actor, but didn't win.
He's so good.
Other leading actor nominees.
Oh,
besides
the year
Russell Crowe.
2000.
2001. Ed Harris for Pollock. Jeffrey Rush for Quills.
Eh.
Javier Bardem for Before Night Falls.
Didn't see it.
Tom Hanks for Castaway.
Oh, psh.
No, I actually think Russell Crowe is better.
Nah, Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks.
He did that whole movie himself.
He transformed himself, sure, but commanding the screen and doing something that I didn't think was possible for this actor was Russell Crowe.
Oh, man. Oh, wait. Oh, I see. Something that you didn't think Russell Crowe was capable of, Russell Crowe did, so he deserves an award for it, as opposed to Tom Hanks, who we know is apt and capable.
And had also probably won 2 other Oscars at this point.
Has he?
So people like just
we're like,
saw
we'll
Russell
give it to
Crowe.
the new guy.
No, they saw Russell Crowe for the first time as opposed to kept seeing Tom Hanks.
Just keep being.
Also, I don't think Castaway is a very strong movie.
Oh my God, I love that movie.
It's fine.
It's so good. Anyway. Anyway,
fine.
long story short, Gladiator
Watch it once.
2000 is no, I've seen that.
Castaway and Airbender.
Yeah, that's fair. Whatever. Didn't hate Castaway. I was just like, yeah, it's a good movie.
I will tell you, don't go see Castaway the night before you're going to on a very long flight.
Oh,
Castaway, to me, Castaway is
Dumb.
the beginning of the Zemeckis down slide.
Oh, I love that movie.
That's fine.
Anyway, this movie is really, really good. I think it really holds up. If you have not seen Gladiator and have intentions to go see Gladiator II, definitely sit down and watch Gladiator I first, because
That'd be an insane choice to go see the
fantastic.
second one.
To be fair, you don't have to see Gladiator to go see Gladiator II, because you get the same movie. Go ahead. How did you feel about Gladiator?
Wasn't the same movie, but
It's worse.
It was tropey beats. Yeah, sure.
Good. What'd you think of Gladiator II year 2000?
He's just picking.
Yeah, snarky little bitch.
Yeah, little twatty. Being twatty. I managed a movie theater at this time, my life post college or during college, and we would walk in to clean that theater early to watch the last 2 minutes and listen to the score.
Oh, it's so
Like every screening. We were all obsessed with the movie because it was just like, how is this so good? Like for the first time in a long time, it felt like, oh, this must be what it was like to go to the Chinese theater and watch Lawrence of Arabia. This must be what it was like to see, Bridge on the River Kwai for the first time. I think it was like the 2000s.
Earmark of
The 2000s
cinematic history.
First big picture movie. This was a thing. It wasn't. Yeah, it just felt like it was very
it
much.
still
a product,
feels like a huge
it was
movie.
Very much a product of like what Hollywood could be.
Yeah.
kind of a shit,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And it was the first and last one. Noel's gonna shit on your cornflakes. Yeah, he is. He's gonna shit on your
Says
cornflakes
JD.
when we start talking about part 2. But no, so I had a lot of affection for this movie. Seen it tons of times, but I haven't watched it all the way through in like maybe 15 years, 10, 15 years. So I was excited to watch it again, and I honestly didn't think it would hold up. And it does.
I didn't.
It really does. It really, really does.
There's not a beat that's missed, I don't think.
No, it is.
It's so tight, but
It's
it's
wildly
lengthy, but it's
efficient
still
movie.
tight.
It's a wildly efficient movie.
That efficient.
It is just it doesn't waste. Speaking of Skeleton Crew earlier, it doesn't waste a goddamn second. It just breakneck pace all the way through, and nothing feels missed. And there's stuff that happens in this movie, and it's in there. It's in context. They didn't retcon anything, but I didn't realize it until the second movie.
I'm curious to find out what that is.
Yeah.
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 Watching it so many times in the past and then having a different
Yeah.
That's awesome. I
of it
Yeah.
now.
remember to bring that up.
Yeah, I'm like, oh shit. Oh, okay. Cool.
Okay.
There's a lot of really good stuff like that. This was probably, Ridley Scott's one of Ridley Scott's best movies. If I have to go through Ridley Scott's filmography, I don't know.
Yeah, tell the people.
Alien.
So
Yeah.
the main guy, Paul Mescal, seemed more like Gerard Butler's kid rather than Russell Crowe's kid.
Spoilers.
I agree. Speaking of 300, Wilson the volleyball for best supporting actor. I sobbed.
I agree.
Costa. I cried in the theater
From
when
him.
he lost
I'm
his
sorry.
his volleyball in the ocean.
I agree
Thank
with
you,
that.
Dylan.
Yeah.
I was a mess when he lost Wilson.
That made me cry more.
Which one?
From him. I'm sorry. It's always sunny.
Nice. Oh yeah. So tell us about Ridley Scott's oeuvre.
Producer, director, previous Gladiator II, Napoleon,
Didn't see it.
House of Gucci, Last Duel. Let's get to the more popular
jeez.
stuff. Alien Covenant, Alien, The Martian, which actually, honestly,
Love The Martian.
The Martian is his last great movie.
That was really good.
The Martian.
Everything
is
since-
I didn't know that was
such a
him.
good
Everything
movie.
since then has been like, okay. Prometheus, Robin Hood with Russell Crowe.
Also Russell Crowe.
Body of Lies with Russell Crowe. American Gangster with Russell Crowe. A Good Year with Russell Crowe.
Yeah, I tried to.
Kingdom of Heaven, which I've never seen.
Without
Black Hawk
Russell
Down, which is
That's it.
a wonderful movie.
Wow, that's good.
A wonderfully harsh movie to watch. Hannibal, Gladiator, G.I. Jane,
G.I. Jane.
Blade Runner,
Oh, of course.
the original Alien, and so on and so
man.
on. Yeah, he's a legend.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Ever see Legend?
I just rewatched that. I just watched that
Okay.
for the first time like last year.
Oh damn!
Sushan and I watched it.
He's never seen Legend.
Oh,
Did
You're
you just
fine.
say you just watched it for the first time
It's
last time?
it's not a good movie,
Hmm.
but it's a really cool movie.
Okay, I'm into it.
Yeah.
yeah. Did we? I guess. But anything else you want to
it's
say
a
about
wonderful
Gladiator?
movie. Absolutely watch it. A plus.
When Russell Crowe says Ligma Kai.
W Russell Crowe. WW. Spam the chat. W's for Russell Crowe. Russell Rowe.
Still should have been Tom Hanks, but that's fine.
I don't give a shit. I'm
Tom
not a
Hanks'
voter.
Gladiator.
Yes, Tom Hanks as Gladiator and
Oh
Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe as Wilson. It would have been great.
Just him as the volleyball.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus. Anywho, Gladiator. Oh wait,
So we were all excited for the second movie.
no,
You weren't excited for this?
no.
Oh, okay. You don't.
was-
you don't.
I was
have
gonna
hope in your eyes when you see a movie.
No, I was gonna see it, but I wasn't like stoked about it. I really enjoyed revisiting Gladiator, but it just felt like such a very specific sort of story that I felt it didn't need any follow up.
Yeah.
So I just, it's just one of those things like we could just leave that one perfect film alone and not ever revisit it, and that would be totally fine.
Yeah,
But
I agree with
we
that.
decided to watch it, so I did. And this one is also directed by Ridley Scott. It has a 71% on Rotten Tomatoes versus the 80% of the original Gladiator.
It's still
written
certified
by.
Certified fresh. Yeah, it's still.
No, I'm just telling
Positive
the
reviews.
people. Reading the notes. Written by Jordan Downey, Michael W. Downey, and Kevin Stewart. Starring Paul Mescal. Okay, where's he from?
Oh, a bunch of indie movies that you haven't seen yet. Both All of Us Strangers.
Dated Phoebe Bridgers.
Son.
So I know.
He dated Phoebe Bridgers.
She started hanging out with Bo Burnham.
I'll look. Just keep going.
Anyway, Paul Mescal, Denzel Washington, Pedro Pascal, Connie Nielsen again, and Joseph Quinn from. Anyone?
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things. After his home is conquered by the tyrannical emperors who now lead Rome, Lucius is forced to enter the Colosseum and must look to his past to find strength to return the glory of Rome to its people.
Can I talk about the spoiler that I saw? Well, spoiler for a 24-year-old movie.
After Sun. That was the movie. I was
Oh,
thinking about.
a spoiler for Gladiator,
For Gladiator, the first one.
not this movie.
Yeah, the description that I read when I was looking up a cast member, because I knew Joseph Quinn was in it. I couldn't remember who he played.
Gotcha.
And so I was trying to look up the cast. It's like, after Lucius witnesses Maximus die at the hands of the emperor, I'm like,
Oh, cool.
You know what?
wow.
Yes, he died.
I'm actually pretty annoyed that he's even noted as Lucius.
Yeah.
The entire point of
that's
the
in
fucking movie
trailer.
is that,
It's a reveal.
but also when we talk about spoilers.
Okay.
Okay.
So I guess I don't know if I should start. I'll start. Alice and Costa and I went to go see this last night. And I spent most of the film kind of just shaking my head in disbelief. I'm sorry if that was.
No, I'm kidding. I
if that was
didn't
annoying.
notice.
I was just sort of like,
I was
kind of
actually
embarrassed. I was embarrassed for the movie. I was shaking my head in disbelief. I just.
Seen so much stuff together. It's
I
not
just
nearly
did
that.
We
not
watched Borderlands.
enjoy this movie at all. I felt like so much of the acting is stilted, and I don't know if it's entirely actors' fault because I also think that a lot of the dialogue is just god awful, and so the actors maybe weren't given that much. Poor Connie Nielsen, who was so strong in Gladiator I, is just awful in this movie. I just was kind of bummed the whole time watching this film. Joseph Quinn was fun. I felt like the two emperors were like sort of chewing all the scenery.
Obsessed with the two emperors.
Denzel Washington was having a blast in this movie.
Too.
Macronus.
He was just having balls to the wall, good time making this movie, and I'm glad he enjoyed it. I think that he was a lot of fun. I'm always happy to see Denzel on screen. I'm always happy to be spending time with that actor. But anybody around him, anybody else in the movie, I just didn't care about. Any sort of emotional beat in this film feels like it was just ripped whole cloth from the original movie. It was just, we're going to take the beats of this movie and what?
No, keep going.
We're just going to take the beats of the original movie and we're going to recreate them slightly different. So I can't recommend this movie to anyone. If you're going to watch a Gladiator movie, just watch the first one and skip this one. I was so disappointed. Fucking sharks, man. I don't know if that's a spoiler. There's sharks. They fill the Colosseum with water and they put sharks in it.
They actually used to do that.
Yes.
Yeah, they used to do naval battles.
The naval battles I knew. But
they carried sharks and put them into the Colosseum.
That I don't know.
I don't know if they use the sharks, but they did.
I want to
fill the
see
Colosseum
documentation
with
of sharks and Colosseums,
Well,
please.
also too, what's the nearest body of water that has sharks, and how would they transport it?
That's what I'm saying.
nets and dragging them.
And then in the first one,
And then keeping them wet periodically.
the first movie has
You had to be
real ass lions.
Yeah.
Tigers.
I'm sorry, tigers. Oh my.
And bears.
Oh my.
No bears.
They have tigers in the film that are real, and in this movie, there's like, what if we have CGI monkeys that
Baboons.
are baboons? They're very horrifying.
Yeah, they're pretty creepy.
They were really horrifying, actually. They were really gross. But it just,
Well, there's a rhino also.
and also a rhino, and also sharks, and it just it. At any point, it felt like this, like the what were their names? The guys who made Not Another Teen Movie and those. It felt like not another Gladiator movie. It felt like
I think you're being wildly unfair.
I really hated this movie.
Wildly
It felt-
unfair to
Some
this
some
movie.
of it is so absurd that it feels like they're making fun of the first Gladiator. That was my takeaway. What did you think, Alice?
I did not hate it as
I'm
much
glad.
as you did.
I'm
I
glad.
actually didn't even love it that much, but nowhere near.
I didn't love it.
Yeah.
Didn't love it, but
I was actively angry watching this movie. I'm
it's
sorry.
gonna
Go
seem
ahead.
like a rave review compared to that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I feel like I have to defend it because there's nothing that bad about it. It's just not as good.
Yeah, no, it doesn't
Yeah.
add up. It doesn't live up to the original. Of course, I do see what you're saying with like they took a lot of the original story, and I think based off of the Going Rogue podcast, when they talk about the making of Gladiator II, Ridley Scott originally said he didn't want to go back to the Colosseum. Like he thought that story was done. He didn't want to revisit gladiators. He wanted to continue the story doing something else.
Oh,
but
see, that'd have been. I'm curious to see what that would have been.
Ridley Scott himself right now is an enigma in general, like the shit that he decides to do and doesn't decide to do. Like he doesn't even seem like he likes enjoying making movies anymore. He just keeps doing it. But sorry, go ahead.
no, you're okay. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I had fun. I liked being back in this world. There were a few moments that took me out of it, like when they confused certain Greek and Roman mythology. They said something about like, oh, in honor of Poseidon, and I'm like, Neptune.
Nice catch.
Costa actually caught that, and I'm
God
like, you're right.
damn.
But they also reference either Achilles or Hercules, or Heracles, which is still the Greek name for Hercules. But they do that in the original Gladiator, but he calls him Hector first and then corrects himself. And he says, or would we call him Heracles? But whatever. So those moments I was like, that's not.
I enjoy how perceptive you are.
I'm giving Costa credit.
Dude, she catches so much shit that I totally
I'm
miss
not
it.
chill.
Yeah.
It's because I'm always like this.
I'm gonna air him out because I'm angry.
I was like this the entire movie. He's over there shaking his head, and I'm like,
Fuck
I'm
your
like,
recliner
it should
seats.
be
I'm like,
Neptune.
They sold me the whole seat, but I only needed the edge.
Costa says that all the time.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Do you like sit up on your haunches on the like recliner
I'm
seat?
fully
Just like,
squatting like Gollum.
And we share a popcorn, so she just goes. And there's just popcorn flying.
Yes.
Go ahead. Anyway.
I'm really fun to go to the movies with.
Yeah, you know what though? No phones. It's great.
Yeah.
I take that.
I'm disruptive in other creative ways.
Part of the experience. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I liked being back in this world, like fully immersed. Like I said, every scene with the two emperors, I was just intrigued with their power dynamic, because how do you have two emperors that are also not just brothers but twins? There's obviously going to be a power struggle there. So I was fascinated with their dynamic, the whole politics of Denzel Washington's character, whose name I already
Maximus.
Maximus.
He was great.
So I liked the whole. I was more intrigued in the politics power struggle than the Gladiator storyline, although that is a big part of the obviously. But like his whole, I already knew who he was. I wasn't into like the whole mystery of like, where do you come from? Like, what's your actual name? And he because I already knew who he was and the whole background.
Yeah. When are we doing spoilers?
After you give your
what's
overall view,
your basic.
we will let you know when we hit spoilers.
I thought it was a solid B.
Great.
Like there is some really, really wonderful things in this movie. There's also some like, not quite an eye roll, just because it's an incredibly simple movie that thinks it's more complicated. The first movie was very linear, very simple, and just kind of beefed up emotions. This one seemed to go out of its way to be a little bit more convoluted and confused that for gravitas, which a lot of movies do nowadays. Like they're not comfortable with just being straightforward. And I think it was a detriment. However, there were times I was watching this movie that I was just grinning because it was thrilling, and there was really good bits, and there was really, really, really good performances. And there were a couple of parts where I was just like, I actually don't know how this is going to go. You know, like I don't know how this is going to end. I don't know who's going to make it out. And I don't know if they're going to pull this off. Because in the first movie, again, I'd forgotten a lot of like details about the first movie. I completely forgot that they were like 2 seconds away from a complete overthrow.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that entire subplot because it just, I haven't watched it in forever.
Sure, yeah.
I was like, yeah, they were this close. And is this movie going to do the same thing? No. Kind of, but not really. But look, like it was all different enough. And yeah. Denzel Washington as a big baddie was dope. It was really, really fun.
Especially when towards the end, when he really leans into it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was wonderful. Paul Mescal, I know he's an amazing actor, but not unlike the first movie, his job is not to be an amazing actor. The plot happens to him. He is just a passenger for a bunch of other people trying to do things around him. He doesn't want to fight in the beginning. He doesn't want to be anywhere else. He doesn't want to go back to Rome. He doesn't want to he literally, the plot keeps being punched in he keeps getting punched in the face by the plot, as opposed to he has a drive. He doesn't. He doesn't even have a drive until the third act, which a lot of people are.
I'm sorry, I would say that he does have a drive.
He has a drive to kill the person that killed his wife.
Yes.
Or that
There's a pretty big drive.
made the order. Yes, but he doesn't want to be where he is. And it's honestly.
Slave. Yeah. What a weirdo.
No,
I'm kidding. I'm teasing.
he is not concerned with the machinations of Rome whatsoever.
Yeah.
He would not even want to bother with the vengeance plot if it wasn't offered to him in Rome. Like he is not a driver of the plot. He is just not.
Yeah.
Neither was Maximus. Except that was presented in kind of like a more linear strength way. He is just a pawn, and people are comparing the two characters, and a lot of people online are saying like Paul Mescal was miscast. And I was like, no, he's just not Maximus. Yeah. And I think you need to like temper your expectations as to what this movie is trying to do, because the first one did not have scene stealers like Denzel Washington or like a little bit in Joaquin Phoenix, but you got like 4 of those characters in this one. Everyone kind of playing their part, and poor Lucius is just like, even Pedro Pascal, General Acacius, you're just a dude.
Okay.
You're just a dude.
I do want to give some credit to the Pedro Pascal. I don't think Pedro Pascal is a very good actor, but the stuff that his character endures and the way he has to interact with Paul Mescal's character.
Rage bait.
Pedro Pascal sucks. This is the way, bitches. I'll take
Thank you.
That's fine. Pedro Pascal is charming. I just don't think he's an excellent actor. I love the way that his character has to interact with Paul Mescal's character. I think that was a very, very cool setup.
Unbearable weight of massive talent.
He was great in that.
Because he's a good actor.
He was good in that. So anyway, I like that version of the character and what they had to do. Sorry.
Overall, I liked it. It wasn't like worthless. I didn't have a bad time. I was glad I saw it. There were some really good beats. I would recommend it. But no, it's not the same movie. I mean, it's got the same beats just because they went out of their way to do that. And it's 16 years later, 17 years later in the context of the movie.
16.
I was not bothered by The Force Awakens. I had lost my love for Star Wars because of the prequels, and then I was very excited for 7, 8, 9 to get kicked off. And I believe we went and saw it at King of Prussia Theater.
Yeah.
I thought
We both got our zip.
Menace.
No. Oh my God. We got our zip up hoodies for the Force Awakens.
Still have it.
And we walked out of that movie, and I was like on cloud 9, and then we were still like, I mean, it's basically a remake of Star Wars. But for some reason, it was so charming and so fun, and there was enough different stuff in there and new characters that I found to be just so engaging that I gave it a pass. I was like, yes, this is basically a remake of a previous Star Wars, but it's just so much goddamn fun. I was fine with it. This feels much in the same category, just without, for me personally, the charm or anything remotely interesting.
So I would.
When you're done,
I would say
something happening.
I would say this movie goes out of its way to present the same dilemmas the first movie did, and at no point does it repeat the same solutions.
Okay.
So it is not. If anything, it is a reaction to the first movie as opposed to a retread of the first movie. Whereas in The Force Awakens, it really was which I loved, but it really was here's the exact same scenario, and here's almost the exact same conclusion to that scenario.
I feel like this film, with the end of Gladiator, spoiler alert, the way it ends, there's a glimmer of hope, and the way things might change, and it might Rome, the dream of Rome, which could disappear with a whisper, might be given back to the people of Rome. Shatter. And then this one just sort of immediately undoes that, because it's only 16 years later, and it's even worse. It's worse now. So his sacrifice doesn't seem to have amounted for much until maybe his sacrifice now leads to the end of this movie.
But this movie does recontextualize his sacrifice, which we will get to in spoilers. But before we do that...
Yes,
chat.
they
What's
are
happening
real
in the chat?
people. Christopher Saint, Saucy Goodnight, and Costa. They were real emperors. Emperor Geta and Emperor Caracalla. They were brothers. They were twins. Their father, I believe his name was Severus, was the emperor before them. I don't know how he came into power, but when he died, he wanted his sons to rule Rome together, which they tried to do with much contention, like we see in the movie. And they actually have the same fate in real life that they do in the movie.
Nice.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I
great.
was reading that all happening, and I was just going to explode. I was like, yes, they are real.
Spoilers for Gladiator II starting now.
Yeah. Get into it.
First of all, the fact that he's Lucius is a reveal in the movie, that they even name him as such in the credits and the description and in the trailers incensed me to no end. It's a point of the movie is his lineage, what he is. And then...
Which the movie gives you no inkling of.
None whatsoever until
Connie
halfway
Nielsen's
through.
like, oh, what's going on down there?
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
that guy.
Yeah. And then also, too, they...
What was that?
Okay.
Go on. Keep going.
They reveal that Lucius' father, Connie Nielsen's husband, was homosexual, did not want to have kids with her. And Lucius is Maximus' child, which that was not in the first movie, yet it was hinted at and contextualized as such.
But they also float the rumor that it was her brother's kid, Commodus.
They let people believe that rumor.
No, they say it in the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
they
let
let
people believe
that
it. Okay,
rumor.
Gotcha.
And
Yeah.
that's why the kid disappeared.
Yeah.
Now, at first I was a little annoyed that like, oh, you undid the ending. But then they show that scene in the ending where he says Lucius is safe for Lucius, whatever. Him knowing that's my kid. They also, we were watching the first movie, they had a thing that they talk about a couple years ago, and he's like, "That's about how old my kid is around this same time." And so I'm like, "Oh, this isn't like a retcon. That actually kind of makes sense, whether it was intended before or not." That's cool.
Oh yeah. Is that what you didn't notice?
That was the thing that I didn't really
Yeah.
truly contextualize before. It was just like, yeah, he sees his son in this kid, cool,
Yeah.
but like, oh no, that's your son.
That's
I did not like that at all. I don't want to call it a twist, but that recontextualization of his relationship with that kid in the first movie, I think it undermines it a little bit. It's not for me.
I didn't read it as he knew it was his kid, but I picked up on the undertones that like, oh, that might be his kid.
If he doesn't know it's his kid, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, that's
if
how
all of a sudden we're led to believe that he knew it was his kid this whole time in the original movie.
I don't think it was.
I don't.
No.
buy
I don't
that.
think he knew. Just the
No.
movie wanted to tell you. This movie wanted to tell you it was.
Hey, just
Yeah.
so you know.
Yeah. And the problem at the end, or like it doesn't go anywhere. First of all, because like historically it doesn't. But then also they show you the choice that Connie Nielsen makes immediately after his death, which all but guarantees that what he sacrificed himself for won't happen, which is absconding with the child and letting him run off, because she immediately in that moment fears for the kid. So like that was fine to me. I didn't feel like it was a betrayal just to retread the same story. It was okay. You explained it. That's fine. The sharks did bother me,
Did it? Okay.
but only in like a minute or two, where it was just like, that's cool. How the fuck did they get? You know what? It's fine.
In another
It's
movie.
fine. It's fine.
In another movie that was not related in any way to Gladiator, I would have been like, hell yeah, sharks. Gladiator sharks? Fuck yeah. Bring them on. Give them lasers, as someone said in the chat. Those sharks need freaking lasers on their heads.
freaking laser
But because it is in the same universe as Gladiator, it just felt so Hollywood. We need to amp up the sequel in order to like make it bigger and crazier, and we can't have more explosions, I guess. So let's have sharks. You know, it's just that was the sort of thing that bothered me.
I think it was that, but I also didn't mind because I know that, first of all, I am not, unlike a lot of men, I guess, our age or just in general, I am not completely obsessed with Roman Empire.
Oh no, I don't.
Oh, you don't
shit.
think about it once?
I don't give a fuck, man. I don't think about it all the
That was
time.
a weird meme that was going around. I was like, do dudes
I-
think about the Roman Empire a lot?
Every time I
do.
hear it,
I do. Or
you're more man than all of us.
That's true.
it's not really Rome. I'm more of a Greek mythology nerd, but sometimes it ties into Roman mythology and Roman history.
Every time I get a
Greek
factoid
history.
about like Romans did this and it was ahead of its time, it's like dope.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I go down rabbit holes.
Anyway, pizza.
But that was a whole meme for like a year about
Yeah.
like men just constantly are thinking about the Roman Empire. I'm like, we are?
Not me. Man.
I missed that memo.
Costa, are you thinking about the Roman Empire?
Right now he is.
You know what else? Well,
does
women
love
be
Gladiator.
shopping.
My wife. Anyway, no, I enjoyed this movie for what it was. But very early on, I consciously forgot about the first movie, like intentionally. I'm like, this is not going to be it. There's a conversation going online right now about Ridley Scott in general, and he like bangs out movies at 87.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, that's impressive.
Yeah.
It's impressive, but his output is completely different than it was when he was a little bit more intentional with his filmmaking. And I think one of his DPs said something about the fact that like he's lazier now.
Yeah.
Plans less setups, doesn't really care, like shoot it once or twice, let's rock.
Yeah.
And I think this movie shows that. Like 25 years ago, Gladiator is like really tight and intentional.
Yeah.
This was a little less so. This was like fucking sharks. Yeah, that's cool. We'll do a backstory. That's fine.
Do a backstory.
It feels a lot more slapdash.
Yeah, slapdash is good. Yeah.
None of it's terrible to me, but it is a little bit like all but the kitchen sink. And I think that's the movie's biggest problem, personally.
Yeah.
It's not as focused.
Yeah, I agree with that. There was a lot going on that, I don't know. I just feel
It's
like they were
just-
throwing too much at you. But like, again, I was in it still just for the power struggle.
Yeah.
And then when
It's like those emperors.
when I went down the rabbit hole and
Kooky
found out
redheads.
they were real, that's why I had to address it in the chat. I was like, yeah, they're real.
What's the disease in his loins that's making him
Syphilis.
mad?
I'm
Thank you.
assuming. Syphilis, I'm assuming. I don't know if that was real. I didn't get that far into my rabbit hole search. But Caracalis did kill Gaeta.
Gaeta.
And he eventually like drove himself mad with guilt.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Denzel Washington killed him.
Who was holding the knife, bro?
That was brutal.
Who was holding the knife? Yeah.
He was so good. Can we just talk about Denzel Washington for a minute?
Denzel Washington was great.
Is he ever bad? Is there? Can anyone think of a movie that Denzel Washington was not good in?
American Gangster.
I didn't see it. He wasn't good in it?
No, he's a bad guy.
No, I'm sorry.
Training Day?
A good actor.
Oh, yeah, he's great.
Yeah. No, I mean, he's not good in this movie either. He's a piece of
great.
shit, but he's wonderful.
Oh, so good.
I'm not obsessed with Rome, says Pink. I am obsessed with ancient history.
Yes.
Yes.
Tomato,
Costa,
tomato.
Yes, and how the Romans are inferior to the Greeks. Half joking.
It's because he's Greek. Also, this is a Greek script,
I mean,
not
we
Roman.
we didn't gather that from the name Costa.
Constantinos
Didn't give it away?
Blackas.
No.
They had naval battles in the Colosseum. The sharks are invented schlock fantasy, and that's the other thing. Like so the sharks were one thing, and then the way they shot the naval battles in the Colosseum, it just felt like two tugboats in a tub.
Yeah.
With a kid, they're so big, with like. From the bird's eye view shot of the Colosseum, they show you how big the Colosseum is and how big those boats are. And it seems manageable. But the way they shoot it, it just feels like they're just going in these tiny little circles, just
There had
hurting
to be
each
a
other.
stray arrow that just hit an innocent bystander, right?
Oh, all
Right?
the time.
Yeah.
But actually,
They're so close.
Kind of like a tire in NASCAR.
So
It's just whoop.
Save the Sharks. I actually loved the setup for that whole thing. How they shot it. Like you got they did a couple of wide shots of the fake Palm Tree Islands, which I thought was awesome as hell.
That was cute.
But then also,
So dumb.
so I don't think that the movie earned this, where they sped around like the gladiators coming together as a team, and
Yeah,
Paul
all of a
Mescal was
sudden
just
he's
giving
like-
orders.
Yeah, yelling commands at them. And like, why are they listening to him?
In the first movie, he was straight up just like, I was a general. I don't know if you guys are soldiers. If you do this, we might make it. Let's go.
Yep.
And then they just kept earning
Yep.
it. In this one, they had also too, but they did do that thing where he was giving out like suggestions and orders, and the guy was like, "Fuck you," and then dies right away.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, maybe they believe him.
That was the
But
rhino.
but the
Maybe I shouldn't headbutt a rhino. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
the,
like, let's run when the rhino comes towards us. The guy's like, fuck you,
Oh,
cowards.
Whatever, loser. We're going dying.
That entire action sequence though was actually really, really good the way that it was staged. Like he will give orders and then contextually you'll be able to see what they try to do, and taking out the oars and then reapproaching because they can't move to steer the boat.
To
Like,
ram them.
that was actually really, really well staged.
Yeah. Yes.
Really, really well staged for an action sequence. A lesser director would hide that behind 500 fucking cuts, and you would have no actual presence of the size and scope of what's going on. I thought it was really good. But again, credulity. A fucking aquatic battle in the middle of a Colosseum in Rome with sharks.
Yeah.
I get it. It's fine. But in regards to if it worked, I do think it worked. It's a little eye rolly.
Right on. Let's see.
Best movie of the year.
Christopher says he wants to do Gladiators 3 apparently, and they showed a picture of him where he looks like Abe Vigoda post-death. I thought it was a completely different Colosseum. I don't know. Is it the same Colosseum?
Yeah.
It must be, right?
Yeah, there's
I don't know how many
one.
Colosseums they have.
This is one.
Yeah.
They got the east stage and the west stage. Yeah, I don't know. No.
I feel like I was very negative on this movie, and I stand by it. This was awful. I hated it.
Credits rolled, and I was shocked when you were like, I hated this. And I'm like, hate it.
Both her and Costa were just like, oh, we liked it. I didn't hate it that much.
I
liked it.
didn't hate it.
Yeah.
Like, I
didn't hate it.
issue with that. I didn't hate
That's just it. Like, it's not like usually get really, really mad about movies that are mediocre.
Mm-hmm.
This was better than mediocre. This was solid as hell. It just wasn't
Wasn't
great.
Gladiator.
Yeah, it wasn't Gladiator.
To me, it was very mediocre. It's like they didn't even attempt anything. It was just like all the same beats. Anyway, whatever. I'm glad
What
you
did
guys
you-
liked it, though.
What
Same
did you
beats,
think
but
of
different
the
results.
end where he just got both armies to just cheer for him? So it's just
Um,
like 11,000 men in unison agreeing.
Oh, that
So
was
yeah,
great.
we've got
But
two
I
armies, and
do-
he's standing at a literal gateway, just
Yeah.
yelling stuff.
and they all just
yelling,
like, yay.
"Yay! Let's all throw down our weapons!"
Um,
And then the orgy.
I believed it because they had set up that literally every single person in Rome was not happy with
Yeah.
the regime,
That's why
including the
I wasn't,
soldiers.
It
why I
didn't-
wasn't
it didn't
super
take much
eye
to-
rolly with
No,
it.
at all. Like,
Yeah.
it was just like, all right, fine.
Yeah.
And, he presented himself as like, hey, by the way, bloodline.
Yeah.
And I think
whatever.
part of my issue was that is a very big scene to film, and you as an actor have to be swaying or at least convincing these two gigantic armies that are at each other's throats almost to turn around, to lay down your weapons. And I just don't think that Paul Mescal, I don't think that he just had any of the gravitas or the weight needed to make me believe that that guy could talk down two armies. That's all. I think a better actor could have done it, I think.
I didn't hate his performance.
I didn't either.
fine.
A lot of people are saying he's miscast, and I don't agree with that. I think he's fine.
I just didn't. He just had the presence of like wet cardboard to me. Sorry,
Such a hater.
and I'm not usually like this.
I know, that's why it's annoying.
Apparently, there were over 230 Colosseums, but the biggest, dankest one was in the Capitol.
That's right. That's the dankest in the capital. Wait, did I say Rome and Mesopotamia and Mesopotamia are the same thing? I listened to a 16-hour story translation of the Iliad last week, and I'm deep in Mesopotamian precursor empires. I assure you, Noel, Rome isn't basically the same thing. Did I say that?
I don't remember.
I don't know enough about any of these things to compare them in any kind of like real way. Yeah, like if I said they're basically the same thing, my bad.
El Mesopotamia.
Ligmakai is
Damn.
dope.
Guy, we
Damn.
like you.
Yeah, who is
that?
Dylan,
Who
do
are
you know
you?
who that is?
Are you a friend of the show and we just don't know it?
I think
If not, you are now.
I think Lig Mackay might be in the room with us.
Blake Mackay is in the room with us.
Let's go. WW.
The dankest one.
Spam
in
that.
capital.
Spam the chat.
God damn it. All right.
Hey chat, how was this movie? W or L? Spam it.
Yeah,
spam
Lig
it.
Mackay.
W.
W.
Oh, wait, no. We got to do
Oh, that's right. All
Right.
right. So
Mercy or Kill, this movie.
1, 2, 3. Ah, I lose.
Lives.
Ah.
Paul Mescal
Yeah.
gets to live.
Damn
Yeah.
my syphilis. It's gone to my brain.
Yeah, this movie gets mercy. It's not nearly as bad as.
I'm
Yeah,
glad you guys liked it.
I've seen a lot of
He's just
shit this
looking down
year.
on us
This
for
isn't one of them.
so.
Yeah.
I am. I'm judging you. Although, to be fair, last week I also hated Thanksgiving 3. So much that I left the podcast.
I mean,
That
that's
was
just,
so
it's a
funny.
straight up bad movie. It just is a
See, now,
creatively bad movie.
if I would understand that movie having a Colosseum full of sharks.
Is there something you dislike that everyone is like great on or something? Like, I know it's on the spot. Is there something that you
don't
just like,
that everyone likes?
yeah, that you dislike that everyone seems to like, just like, ugh.
Oh,
What gives you the ick?
Oh, ugh, I hate.
I mean, the movie 300, if we really want to get into that.
there you
I'm
go.
not
That's
into
great.
it.
Everyone likes 300.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't
it's
think
pretty
I think they
Popular, though.
did,
it's pretty popular.
but not anymore.
Zack Snyder was
I'm
lost in
not-
goodwill with
Yeah.
the people,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. This is what I have to think about.
We should do a whole episode of like
Things that we hate.
Just do a
People would
hater
love it.
episode.
Just be a fucking rant after rant.
Hater episode.
The Roman Colosseum is situated relatively close to the Tiber River, a major body of water in Rome, with the site being built on the drained bed of an artificial lake that was part of Nero's Golden House.
Oh, so maybe they could potentially have gotten sharks from one point to the other.
Boom.
You bet.
How many sharks do you think died
6.
trying to attempt to get them there?
Oh, to get them there?
Yeah, like
They're
like,
just
all right.
dragging them
Let's say
through
they started with
land.
30, 10 made it.
Yeah. I also,
Okay.
it's
One out of 3.
I think the
one out of
biggest
3
shame-
sharks makes it.
I think the biggest shame is that they gave these sharks free tickets to see the gladiatorial battle and not realizing that they were in the battle. They got there and they were like, I thought we were just going to chill and eat churros
Well, they get
and watch
free
the
food now.
festivities.
Roman churros, yeah.
Classic Roman churros.
I actually do think that Roman churros are a thing.
They're better than Greek churros.
Oh, with all that tzatziki everywhere, they're gross.
Fight, rage, bait, rage, bait, rage, bait, rage.
Anything else we want to say about Gladiator? Watch Gladiator. Is there anything else we want to say?
I think if you're in the bag for these movies, I think you'll have a good time. They're
Yeah.
not bad.
Yeah. What are we talking about next
Next
time?
week we're going to be talking about Wicked / Wizard of Oz or any other Oz you want to watch, but we're going to primarily talk about Wicked, and we're going to have
excited.
special guests. The week after that, we're going to premiere a hopefully ongoing segment of shows, and we'll talk about it later.
Yeah. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And we'll find you on Fresh Floppies on next Wednesday morning when we release them. Actually, we've been releasing them on Tuesdays. We're pretty great.
there by
Which
Wednesday.
is when we review the comic books that come out that Wednesday without spoilers. And then we'll see you back here next week, 8 o'clock. Same bad time, same bad channel.
Hey-o.
Imagine if the McFlurry machine was broken, says Costa.
Damn. It's always
I mean, imagine going to the Colosseum and there's not being Baja Blast.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We'll talk at you later.
The thin Baja line. Yeah.
My shit was Code Red.
Baja Blast is better than Code Red.
It's nonsense.
Yeah, I think it's better than Code Red.
We need to have another soda episode.
Rage bait, rage bait, rage
I will
bait.
have a soda episode as long as it's not like the weird salty sodas. Fuck that shit.
What the
Like ranch flavored or corn.
What are you talking about?
I'm going to try
Look it up.
You're just saying words.
Bring in
Look it
weird
up.
sodas for me to try,
Yeah,
please.
she'll
I
do.
love weird sodas.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we'll talk at you later. Unless we already
Yeah.
signed off. I don't know.
Yeah.
Bye. Mwah. Skilly-dee-doo.